Welcome, welcome, everyone. We'll just wait a little bit as everyone is joining. Welcome, Pete.
Welcome, welcome. I've made it. A few technical things again.
No worries. That's how it always ends up going.
Excellent.
Just inviting everybody else. We also have Mark here with us today. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Scott. Thank you.
All right, awesome. We'll wait for Nuno to join, and while we're waiting, I'll start covering some of the weekly recap from last week. So, actually, we just announced this maybe like 10 minutes ago. We added USDC payments on Ethereum to Cudos Intercloud. So, everyone, you can now go and actually pay using Ethereum, USDC, Ethereum. So that's fantastic. We'll continue adding more and more ways to pay. We're on week 3 of the community contest, so you can go and check our pinned tweet and see all the information around that. You can enter to win part of a $1,000 prize pool, as well as merchandise and exclusive perks. So definitely go and check that out. We recently shared our March recap as well, so you can see everything that we did in March in that article, as well as we sent out a newsletter. So if you're subscribed to our newsletter, you can also follow along there. We recently kicked off a strategic partnership with VPS AI, and Pete actually did a Twitter space with them just the other day. So actually, Pete, if you want to share some insight on how that went, that would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And hello, fellow Cudonians. Nice to see you here again. VPS AI is it's a relatively new project. It's come to market. It's on the Ethereum ecosystem. They're out to effectively decentralize AI, right, and make it really super to access computing power for that, and that means that the partnership with Cudo and the Cudos Intercloud means that we are one of the infrastructure providers on the back end, which is amazing. And in fact, we are the first, I believe, as well. So, yeah, really cool team. There's a few kind of ETH whales in there that have been working within that ecosystem for years, right? So, true OGs within the kind of developer world there. They've turned around, they've produced an application in kind of record time. It's quite amazing how quickly it's been produced, and they're just about to go into their kind of MVP next week, I think it is, that they said. So yeah, just another great partnership for us. Scott, I wanted to actually mention and to everyone here as well. I mean, we have listened, by the way, and we will be getting some stats out. We know the stats are not as visual yet or publicly accessible as some of the other projects out there, but we got some really impressive stats that have just been growing week on week. And if I take Intercloud just as a single, let's just pretend Intercloud is a single customer, if you like, of the network. And all the activity that's going through there. That had its first week over 5K revenue last week. I think that was within about 6 days, actually. which is incredible. It's just grown so quickly since that kind of launched as a first version in January. And these kind of partnerships with the likes of VPS AI and other integrations that we're doing is just going to bring bigger communities from other ecosystems, along with the kind of extra token support we've got. Just means that we're going to be reaching a much wider audience and really kind of achieving those goals that we set out, which is, we just want to become a big computational, globally distributed computational layer for the blockchain ecosystem, make it super easy to use. So yeah, really, really cool. We'll provide some more stats in the coming days. I know Scott's working on that.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. So we'll have some other juicy bits of stats to release in the near future. So everyone do stay tuned for that. A few more updates before we dive in. We shared a recent report from Myrrha Labs. They have a very good deep in ecological map that you guys can go and check out. We recently quote tweeted that. Borderless made a follow-on investment into Cudos to continue help supporting our mission, which is fantastic. This one is a very big one. We were finally added to the AI category on CoinGecko. I know everyone has been pushing and pushing and pushing for that, so we finally got it done. So that's a huge win for us here at Cudos. We've also partnered with Elise, and we shared a press release on that last week. We also had Pete and Matt discussing AI and cloud infrastructure impact on the environment in the Lenovo studio. Great discussion. We uploaded that on our YouTube, so definitely go and take a look at that. We'll also be uploading the video natively on our Twitter tomorrow if you want to watch it on Twitter. And then lastly, we integrated Arch Token as a payment to Cudos Intercloud. So let's jump into some of the agenda for today. First, we'd like to introduce Mark to everyone, because I don't believe we've had Mark on Coffee with Cudos before. Mark, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what you do at Cudos?
Yeah, no problem, Scott. Thank you very much. And great to be here, and nice to meet you all virtually. So in terms of, I'll start with my background and then just talk a bit about what I'm doing with Cudo and Cudos, and
Sure.
then we can do some questions at the end. So from a historical perspective, so my background started very long time ago in nuclear engineering, of all places. So I was a nuclear engineer for about 7 years. I ended up moving to GE, which is a huge, obviously US company at the time, was doing really, really well. Moved into their nuclear division and ended up working on nuclear projects, but then ended up in aircraft engines and somehow flipped across into financial services. I don't know how that happened, but it did. Ended up sticking with financial services and working for investment banks for about 20 years. So everything from front-end trading systems, algorithmic trading. I was responsible for a global bank's full payment infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So you can imagine over 20 years, lots of different jobs. Ended up as a senior managing director in one of the large banks, but worked for 2 or 3 of those banks over the time. I then left there, and then it got really interesting. So I left banking, thought I wanted to do something completely different. Was talked into joining the government, and specifically HMRC at the time. Little did I know that COVID was going to hit about 2 months afterwards. So the whole tenure of working for the government ended up with me being fully responsible for all of the COVID schemes that were rolled out in the UK. So we paid out about 450 billion. We paid out about 10 billion on the first day of the schemes going live. As you can imagine, very exciting, very, very important to get it right, to support the UK economy and support families being able to pay bills and things like that. Huge pressure. It all had to be done very, very quickly, because as it hit, it was very obvious we were going to shut the country down. People wouldn't have money, so it all had to be done within about 12 weeks. Rapid development, very, very, very quick. Full access to Rishi Sunak. I don't know if anybody is political on here, but I worked with Rishi Sunak on a day-to-day basis. We had him in a Scrum type environment to make decisions. everything went well, nothing fell over. The whole thing was seen as a huge success. And then for my sins, because that went very well, I was moved across to Brexit. It's just like the rogues gallery of projects, basically. And I was responsible for all of the technology at the border as we left the European Union. So as you can imagine, we didn't have any technology at the border, or hardly any, while we were part of the European Union. We had to build brand new systems for controlling the flow of goods in and out of the country, and then also for the revenue side of stuff. So again, it was a hard date. I spent about another 9 months preparing all that, getting it ready, and then supporting that through the transition as we left the EU. And again, got through that without getting shot, which happens in government all the time. I thought my time is up. I've probably had my 9 lives at this point, decided to leave. As I left, I started having conversations with Pete Nuno and Matt and started to support them in a strategic way. And then from about November last year, signed up full time, just through looking at the projects, looking at what we're doing, getting excited about it, seeing the potential. So really what I'm doing now is working within Cudos and helping with the strategic direction of where we're going to take it, mainly thinking about scaling, mainly thinking about bringing the revenue and, taking it to the next level, which I think is very, very achievable. And we're starting to see those results already. So that's me. I'm 54 years old. I live on the south coast of England. Got 2 kids and a wife, so very settled down here. But that's the kind of thumbnail of where I am, Scott.
Wow. Are you really 54? Wow, you look much younger.
I thought you were going to say older, Pete.
Well, just definitely, but if it's all the kite surfing and everything, it keeps you young. I just want to put everyone at rest here. Mark's got some fantastic experience in the government and at the borders, but Cudos will remain borderless, and we're not going to be a central bank digital currency. So.
Yeah, and not to mention actually, so how did all 3 of you cross paths, and what's kind of how did you all come together in Cudos?
Yeah, I can take this one first, Mark. So yeah, I think Mark kind of alluded to it in there. He's got a wealth of experience, built up a fairly sturdy network over time, and was actually introduced to us through one of our investors. So into the parent company that works very close with us as well. So part of that network. And then came along to one of our strategy meetings and just showed a whole wealth of value, really. So we just kind of built the relationship there. So that's the brief. I don't know, Nuno or Mark, if you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, Pete, I think one thing that I want to just add on there is that obviously Mark, because of his experience, explaining to him what Web3 is and what crypto is, it was not obviously a native thing for him. But the fact that we managed to explain, and more importantly, managed to get him on board and support us, really truly show that he's seen the potential that we have, and that was obviously a massive tick for us. A guy that worked in the government, a guy that worked in some incredible major corporations, to come on board means that he trusted us, he likes what we do, and he's totally on board. Mark has been instrumental and key on narrowing our focus and making us more efficient and productive. And we are a stronger team with him on board. So yeah, it's perhaps we should have done this much earlier because he's been with us now for a while. But yeah, we have absolutely, since he joined, become a much stronger, much efficient team. And the future is very bright. So yeah, Mark, I know this is your first Twitter Spaces, but I'm pretty sure the community will be as passionate as we are about you. Sorry, I need to take my daughter for a wee, so.
Yes, I'll just finish off there as well. Yeah. I think from my perspective, I was drawn further and further in, as I saw the projects and saw the potential of Cudo and Cudos. And that hasn't abated. I get more excited day by day in terms of what we can do. And as Pete's already said, we're seeing some pretty amazing growth and advancement in terms of what we've rolled out already, and we're adding to it very quickly with some fantastic plans as well. So I just look at this and just think it's a world-class opportunity, and that's why I'm here at the same time. Plus, I love the guys, right? I mean, you've probably interacted with Nuno, Matt, and Pete on a regular basis. It's pretty relaxed. It's a kind of no-jerk policy. Everyone gets on really well. Everybody's got the same intention in terms of what we're trying to do. And, you know, from my perspective, sometimes you can feel like people are detached from the business. I'm not. I'm in every decision on a day-to-day basis, working alongside everybody else. So I like that as well. I like that I'm learning a lot, and I like that I'm embedded into the business on a day-to-day basis. So it's great. It's really, really good. And just, you know, you guys are in the right space as well in terms of looking at the potential of the opportunity here, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and it's funny. We probably should have done this a while ago, but I'm fairly new to the team too, actually. Speaking of which, though, have there been any like memorable moments, or like how has it been like over the time that you've been here? What's that been like?
We've done it's, you know, we can't go through it all, right, but what we've done is, and I think either Peter or Nuno alluded to it there, is, you know, over time what can happen is you can have different strands of the business that kind of start operating side by side. You know, what we have done is we went right back to scratch. We talked about what our fundamental focus was and strategy. We reset all of that, and then really focus down on what's important to us. Obviously, Cudos being one of those things. And, you know, going through that whole process, as you can imagine, we had to put some things to sleep, and we had to kind of promote some things in terms of priority. It's helped massively in terms of just getting the focus into the right places, and then just setting up the right kind of rhythm, you know, day-to-day decision making, all that kind of stuff. That's when we're talking about efficiency. It's just sped everything up. And, you know, I can imagine that people who followed the journey for quite some time have probably seen an acceleration in the last probably 3 to 6 months. And a lot of that is to do with that refocusing and doubling down and making sure that we're kind of spending our resource and assets in the right way. It's really come together. And that's been really exciting, because the nice thing is there's no resistance. You know, internally, everybody knew it needed to be done. It just needed a small catalyst in the flame to make it happen. And, you know, the nice thing is we've all just gotten on with it really, really quickly, and it's starting to pay huge dividends. So that's kind of the one thing for me I can really point to. Pete, I don't know what you would say.
Yeah. I mean, there's been when was it we founded this? End of 2017. So I've been through all of these kind of evolutions and changes and updates, and you know, the full build journey that we've been on. You know, as Nuno and you know, a lot of the core team as well. But I have to say, you know, if we really look back at the last 4 months, I mean, the fact that we got the kind of main underlying distributed network or platform, Cudo Compute Live, the fact that we had Cudos Intercloud, which is kind of the Web3 access point to that, go live this January, so a lot more recent to that. You know, it's a massive change when the products go live, because that's what we've been building towards, right? So even going back to the white paper, when we're saying, you know, the AI space is going to grow, it's going to go parabolic. We didn't know the exact dates, you know, at that point. We didn't know that ChatGPT was going to be launched on the date it was, and you know, the path that it followed. But it's good to know that kind of that early vision is still very much our vision. But you know, of course, you're gonna do this kind of this meander, if you like. The river is never straight. It's always going to take a path down to the sea. So we, you know, it's been a hell of a journey. But I have to say, on the last kind of 4 to 5 months, maybe this correlates with Mark starting, who knows? But you know, we've really kind of got new initiatives in. We've seen huge growth across the Cudo Compute platform, first because it was launched first, and now we're seeing huge growth on Cudos Intercloud as well. Yeah, it's just a really bright future, and I think we've done that at the right type of timing and intersection, where you've got this huge AI demand on one side, but you've also got this, you know, explosive growth within the blockchain space and all the dApps and platforms that are being built there. So yeah, it's who knows? Maybe we should have some kind of prediction of what's going to what's going to happen in the next 6 months. This space moves so quickly. Everyone can get involved and place their bets.
I think that's actually a good segue to my next question, which was, um, where do you see the future of Kudos going, like, and the future, or what is your vision for the future of Kudos, rather? And you can each share a little bit about where you see things going in terms of sustainability, in terms of cloud computing, and DPIN, and sort of in general.
Who would you like to start?
You can start.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. I mean, look, our strategy on the Kudos side of things is to become that North Star, is that default computational layer for the blockchain space, right? So you can see what we're doing here. We built within the Cosmos ecosystem because it offered a high level of interoperability. It gave us a network foundation that would allow for microtransactions at micro costs, small gas fees. It's not like on Ethereum where some days it might be $20, some days it might be $900, right, to do a transaction. So that was really important for us to get the foundation. And what the Cosmos ecosystem did as well is it allowed us to pick from a preset built or preset pack of Lego bricks, if you like, build it in a very modular way, and be able to react quickly. So, if we needed to make a change, we can just modify one of those Lego bricks rather than having to wait for a main protocol to do an update. So really, really important decision on that side. But, we're not just locked into the Cosmos ecosystem. We want developers, in Ethereum, in Solana, in Avalanche, in all of these other major ecosystems to be able to access scalable compute easily, natively to themselves as well. And that's why we're seeing these additional tokens be added. We will be working on the kind of utility for the Kudos token. So it's something that was it's on the roadmap's been discussed before. But what's really, really, really important is we widen that audience and get more people coming through, because that's how the growth is going to happen on the platform itself, with the technology itself. But from a sustainability point of view, Scott, there is, well, before we go into that, we were at GTC, as a lot of you will know, a few weeks ago. So NVIDIA's big blue ribbon event over in California. And Jensen was on stage and he was saying this is going to be the year of cloud, right? So with so many applications popping up, it's all around kind of training and inference and Gen AI and everything like that. It's a big market opportunity at the moment. And we've positioned ourselves well for that. But it's for us, it's like uber important that we do that in a sustainable way, because that's the mission that we set out for in the first place. So any kind of supplier environment that we're bringing on around the world, we do have that kind of sustainability benchmark that we want to meet, whether that's 100% renewable energy, which is actually all of the GPUs at the moment, 100% renewable energy locations. But it could include clean energy as well, things like nuclear. So Mark, you might have to get your spanners back out and build ourselves a station. Yeah, that's always going to be a big focus going forward. It's like, how can we bring all of this demand to our ecosystem so everyone benefits, but also make sure that we're not damaging the planet at the same time. So I think that's what we'll continue on towards our end vision.
Awesome. Yeah. Hopefully you didn't take all the possible ways.
I held back on a few bits so they can find gaps.
Mark, do you want to follow up to that?
Yeah, I can. I mean, I'll talk more generally than what Pete can. But what I'm looking at the moment is that whole AI space. Getting listed as an AI company and playing into that is going to be a big part of what we do. We're going to support it through marketing that way and talking about it that way, and we need to play into that space. It's growing incredibly quickly. What we've got great supply, like Pete said. We've more or less doubled the supply that we've got to play with, which is all green energy backed. And then I think the big thing for us is, I think what we've realized, and it has taken us by a little bit of surprise, is how quickly it's grown on the Web3 side in terms of supplying that infrastructure. So I think it's pleasantly surprised on the upside. There's a huge amount of uptake. There seems to be a lot of demand that we can play into. and we've just got amazing, short and medium term plans in terms of how to grow that even faster and quicker over the next kind of 3, 6, 12 months. And the way I think about it is AI projects and AI companies can come and go, but everybody needs the infrastructure at the back end. You can't get away from the fact that you need the compute, and we can provide that to whoever wants to come along and use it through our Web3 interface. So I just think we're incredibly well positioned. I think we've been well and truly surprised on the upside on the Web3 side for the service that we've rolled out. And then I look at the plans that we've been putting together, and they're extensive, well detailed, and we're going to see a huge amount of growth over the next 3, 6, 9 months. So I'm just really excited from that perspective. I'm just looking at it from that point of view as a business opportunity, and it's huge. And we're playing into the right space. It's very topical, and it's timed well. So yeah, I'm really excited from that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's highlighted by how CoinGecko has just added us to the AI category as well. I think that kind of plays exactly into that.
Yeah, I think we got Emma to thank for that one. That was a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
To get that realized.
Yeah, 100%. And Nuno, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, sure, Scott. No, obviously, difficult to follow up after those two just said what they said. But what I would add is our goal hasn't really changed, right? When we started this company, our goal was to take a piece of the hyperscalers cake, i.e., the Googles, the AWS, Microsoft of this world, and take a nice piece of that cake and bring it to ourselves. But at the same time, we seen a huge potential in the blockchain space. We knew blockchain was going to keep growing and be more accepted and to become like AI is part of the day-to-day life. So our goal was to bake our own cake in the blockchain space and then share it with the others and become the number one cloud compute provider, right? So that hasn't changed. That's very much the focus. I do believe in the next 2 to 5 years, like Mark said, very rightly so, and I was something that I was going to mention. The narrative is AI depend this year, but one thing that will never change is infrastructure, compute infrastructure, because as human beings, we love technology, we love innovation, but everything, all of this innovation that comes out requires compute, GPU, CPU, storage. We provide the full stack, right? So we always going to be on trend. I think one thing that we lacked is actually the sometimes the guts just to be loud, just to be as loud as many other companies, many other founders that I see in the space, especially now, right? There is a bull run coming in, and I see projects coming in, and 200 million valuations, and then I look into and I'm like, whoa, oh my god, where is this back from? Because there's nothing there. I think we need to be a little bit more brave, a little bit more loud, and really be proud of what we build and talk, because that's really what is lacking on our side. From a technology standpoint, we are one of the best projects there is in the Web3 space. From a team standpoint, once you get to meet the whole team, obviously, the community knows me, Matt, Pete, but like now you just met Mark, but we have another 30 people behind us that enable us to get to where we are. And I think if you met each one of those guys, each one of those people, each one of those girls, you would go, oh wow, this is the team that I want to support. This is the team that I want to be part of. I think that's something that will change. We will be louder, and I think obviously having the support of a working product, a product that anybody can just go and pick it up off the shelf now, use it, feedback, fall in love with it, pass it on to their friends. It helps, and therefore we will be louder. But just picking on what Pete said, we attended GTC, and NVIDIA enables anyone to become a data center, right? That's what they're doing with their technology. We enable any data center to become a cloud provider. Both go hand in hand. We had the most incredible week at GTC. We met obviously with NVIDIA. We discussed incredible ways of working together and collaborating that we can't yet talk too much about it, but in the next few weeks we will start to talk about what we've done, what we've achieved while we were there, and really was a little bit of realization moment for us when we are in the room with some of the biggest companies in the world today, and some of their most senior team are there to listen to us and what we built and what our plans are and how they can help us. It took us back. We were like, oh wow, my God, we are really on the good path here. We are building something that it's going to be here for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, right? We're not building something just for us. We're building something to pass on to the next generation. This is really exciting. This is where I now get really excited about it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I mean, it was great to see all the photos coming out of GTC and all the great times being had.
Scott, can I just add a couple of more points, if you don't mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, the first one is we are in the foothills of what is to come. So from an AI perspective and from a compute point of view, and the markets that we're going to serve, this is only just beginning. This is just people thrashing out like the first steps on the journey. So this is a 10 to 15 year journey where it's just going to get faster and faster, and it's going to pick up speed. The other interesting thing to point out that's really obvious when you take a look at it is when you take a look at our stats. Well, you take a look at our project and you look at what's been achieved, and you look at the amount of business now that's flowing through the project, or the service that we've rolled out, and the potential for the future. It far outshines other projects that are out there that are claiming to do something similar. But those other projects are valued from a token perspective at way multiples higher. And I think that's a job that we've got here as well, right? We've got to try and close that gap and support the token and talk about this and get the word out, because in a lot of ways, from a project perspective, and what we're doing and the amount of customers we've got, it's way beyond a lot of these other projects out there. Peter, I don't know if you want to say anything else on that, or I'm saying too much. Stop me if I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But
no, I think
it's quite profound, right? When you take a look at it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Mark. And yeah, for the second half of that I listened to, absolutely right. I got distracted by a message, so apologies. But yeah, we know that we need to go louder on a few fronts. We're heavily engineering and product, and as you can imagine, heads down. Let's build some really cool stuff. Let's actually get the technology doing what we've committed to that technology doing. Let's grow that user base. Let's listen to them. Let's iterate, etc., etc. We've been doing a lot of that. So marketing has definitely kind of ramped up. We brought in new additions. We got Scott's doing a great job. Scott, thank you very much for taking over the hosting job on a number of things. So as the old Kudos Cast podcast host, I used to absolutely love that job, but it just ate through my time, unfortunately. So I'm really pleased you come into the team. But yeah, everything that we're doing, all of the stats, all of the announcements, we just want to amplify that even more. And you guys can definitely help with that as well, and being our community and sharing it, and really getting the name out there. So yeah, thank you very much from all of the team, really, and we'll keep going, we'll keep growing.
Yeah, and funny enough, we had one comment that said, "Bring back Kudos Cast, whatever happened."
Do you know what? I genuinely love to bring it back. I think at the time we had a video editor that was helping kind of piece it together. There was 2 or 3 people that were kind of involved in doing that. If we can get that working again, I would be more than happy to kind of jump on an hour a week and do that. Maybe Scott, maybe we do co-hosting, right? So we can alternate. So let's work something out.
Yeah, we could figure something out for sure. And then just before we end off, Pete, do you want to share a little bit about what you'll be doing next week at Paris Blockchain Week, just so people are up to date on what's going on there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be walking around in disguise and getting on to all the competitive. No, I mean, look, Paris Blockchain Week is one of the main events in Europe, at least, anyway, for the calendar year. Yeah, I've never actually been to Paris Blockchain Week. I've been to EFCC when that was in Paris last year, but yeah, I haven't been to Paris Blockchain Week, so I'm really looking forward to it. But for me personally, most of the evenings are taken up with the kind of side events. I always find they're the best place to meet people. Everyone's guard is a little bit down. They're a little bit more chilled out. It's the end of the day. We can have a beer together. We can chat degen and across all the projects and stuff. And just build up our network. But through the day, the intention really is to meet up with a few people that are kind of working with us that we're looking to bring into our ecosystem. It could be influencers, could be journalists as well. So yeah, really many hats will be worn next week. They'll all be kudos, but they just have different badges for whoever I'm speaking to.
Awesome. And then you'll also be at Mansion House Series Summit or Summit Series on May 2nd as well.
Yeah, so that's quite an interesting one actually. So that's the Digital Commonwealth, which is a new group that's been set up. So if anyone, I don't know if anyone here is UK based, but anyway, in one of the daily papers, City AM, there was Crypto AM was like the middle section, and it was like it's been going for about 5 years. So it's dedicated to crypto news, regardless of whether it was a bull market or bear market. It was there every single day. Within this paper, as a really good community is built up around that. Now, unfortunately, that kind of folded mid last year. But the Digital Commonwealth is the new the new grass seeds that is kind of that's coming out of the ground there. London's got a great community. As you can imagine, it's a lot of kind of finance people that come into DeFi. So do you know what, the last time I went, Scott, I didn't see the Mansion House, by the way, is where the Lord Mayor of London lives. I had no idea this, so I turned up in my normal jeans, t-shirt, hat, trainers, and everyone was in a full suit, sitting down for a 3-course meal. It was only my good friend Harry at Zebra who turned up, similar to me. So flying the flag. But this time I'll be on another panel. So I was on a deep in panel last time. I'll be jumping back onto a similar one this time, and it was Brittany Kaiser was on the last panel with me. So yeah, they're pulling a really good crowd, and that's May the 2nd in London. So yeah, if anyone is in the UK, just look up the Digital Commonwealth Mansion House series, and I'm not sure how much tickets may even be free.
All right, awesome. We have one last question. If someone wants to field this, it is, what type of projects would you expect to contribute to Cudos building on the Cudos blockchain?
Yeah, it's a good question. So our focus is on the compute. So our focus is on how can we make our Cudos Intercloud a compute network accessible to as wide a blockchain Web3 developer audience as possible, right? So going multi-chain within the Cosmos, going multi-chain outside of the Cosmos as well. That's very much our strategy. And that just enables, because there is still that problem of all of these different independent ecosystems, and I always think of them as like great cities around the world, right? They all have a purpose, they all have a separate community, they all have a separate culture, but ultimately I want to travel to each one, and I want to travel to each one really easy. So that needs to happen within blockchain, and that's our strategy on the cloud side. But for projects building directly onto our blockchain, which we obviously encourage, then who is going to benefit most from that? And I'm not talking just about the compute infrastructure, although every application will need compute infrastructure. But who's going to benefit from the interoperability that the Cosmos ecosystem provides? There's some of the tooling that we have provided directly onto the chain as well. So it's that bigger picture. Whenever we're talking to new protocols, dApps or existing ones that are looking to go multi-chain themselves, it's like, you know, look at what this actually opens up to you. You know, us being within that Cosmos ecosystem and having IBC set up, which is that inter-blockchain communication, and all of those Lego bricks that I referred to being available, it just makes, for a developer, it just makes things that little bit simpler, a little bit smoother. I would say no chaos whatsoever, but that's not the case of of this space yet, right? We're you know, there's still some chaos within there, of course, but it's yeah, it's just a really burgeoning ecosystem full of developers and a fun place to be. So yeah, come and build on Cudos. I'm sure we can. If there is anyone that's actually considering doing so, then, you know, by all means reach out to myself or Nuno or Scott, and we can have a private call.
All right, fantastic. And then the last question, which I will just field, is there any more news about the space project that we mentioned? We'll be either releasing a press release by tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, early next week. So do stay tuned for that. We have a very exciting announcement. But aside from that, that is everything for today. Thank you so much, Pete, Nuno, and Mark, for coming on and sharing a little bit about the vision for Cudos and everything going on in the space, and for Mark for introducing yourself.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks all. Appreciate you taking the time.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And, you know, make sure to tune in next time and leave your questions in the section below. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.